everyone, it's AJ and it's Something to Do Saturday. And it's also getting to be springtime, so maybe you're spring cleaning and maybe you're thinking about throwing out some of your old sweaters that have a snag or are starting to get a little rough, or maybe they don't fit anymore. Hopefully it's because they're too big, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of really cool ways to upcycle your sweaters. As you can see, I've already kind of started tearing this one apart. You're going to want to round up some cardboard boxes, and you can have some needle and thread. That'll work too, and you're going to need a glue gun. So we're going to help you not only do some spring cleaning by grabbing a hold of some of your sweaters and repurposing them, but giving you a place to store the ones that you keep. So let's get started. So before I cut up my sweaters, I'm going to prep a couple of my boxes. This one I'm actually going to cut the flaps off. You can take a razor knife or whatever kind of knife you have, maybe a sturdy pair of kitchen scissors, and cut the flaps off. Or if you want to make your box a little sturdier, you can actually just fold the edges down, because you can't cover up the inside. You're going to fold it over anyway. So if you decide you're going to cover up the inside, you can actually just fold the flaps down. Either way will work. Have the flaps cut off of your boxes, you want to make sure that you have a nice sturdy bottoms and edges, because you don't want to go to all the trouble of getting the sweater on your box only to find out that it won't hold whatever you want to put in it. So if you need to, take some tape and reinforce either the bottoms or the sides, or I've also hot glued the corners sometimes. So then we're going to take our sweaters, whatever sweaters that we deem no longer worthy to wear or are damaged and can't be repaired. And as you can see, I've kind of already cut the sleeves off of this one, and I may decide I want to do this on the big one. I don't know, I'm kind of liking this black one. So one of the first things you can do, depending on what kind of sweater, what size sweater rather, that you have picked out, is trying it on your box. And what you can do is simply pull it over top of your box and see if it will fit. And sometimes it helps, depending on what kind of sweater you have, to see how it's going to fit on your box. And this one's, the sleeves are kind of wonky on it, so I don't think I have enough sweater here. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Oh, I do on that side. Okay. See, and so that's why it's good to kind of fit your sweater a little bit before you actually cut it, so that you don't cut it too short. So it's going to be tight there, but I think we can make it. So probably what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to cut it right about where the sleeve comes together. And it's kind of a hit or miss kind of thing sometimes as to how you want to do that. You can mark it, you can mark your edge with chalk, or you can just kind of eyeball it. And basically what we'll do then is, once we have positioned it around there and trimmed it, we'll hot glue it. So I think that's the one I'm going to use for that one. But one of the things that you want to be very mindful of when you are taking your sweater apart or cutting your sweater apart is, number one, making sure you know if you've taken a sweater that has a bad spot, like this one has a rip. Oh, I just saw where to go to. This one has a rip in the neckline. It actually has a couple rips in the neckline. So I want to make sure that if I go ahead and use that I take that into consideration, that I'm not planning the bad spot as part of what I'm doing. And there's another one down here in the sleeve, as you can see. And it's also, this one is more sheer than the other two. So you're going to want to make sure that you have like a plain box, or that you cover or paint your box before you cover it. So this one here, I'm kind of excited to try and see what we can come up with, because we have a nice turtleneck here. We've got some nice sleeves, and then of course a nice base, lots of fabric. The only thing that I really am not crazy about with this one is that there's not a lot of stretch to it. So that's going to be tough, whereas this one had a little bit of stretch. This one has a lot of stretch. So those are all things that you're going to want to look for when you choose your sweater. Some of the other cool things that you can do when you're taking your sweater apart is keep in mind what else can you do with the leftovers. And in this particular knot, well, yes, I could do something with this. But if you look at the sleeves that I cut off of these, if we were to sew the bottoms of this, it actually becomes a nice sort of boot sock or leg warmers. You can make a pair of those. If there's enough stretch to it, you can actually cuff it or put trim on it and turn it into a hat. Lots and lots of possibilities. This one we could probably double up and again turn the edges in, and you could make a head warmer out of it. So keep that in mind rather than just grabbing the scissors and starting to cut. Be very conscious of what kind of other things you might want to use with the fabric that you have left. So I think I'm going to start by cutting the neck out of this one, and I always like to turn my sweaters inside out, or any kind of clothing that I'm cutting apart, because I do that quite often, try and salvage everything. This will also work with sweatshirts or t-shirts. So you know, if you have something that I know a lot of times kids, when they have t-shirts, my daughter was a swimmer, had a lot of, you know, you got to go to the meet, you get the shirt, you know, got the t-shirt and hat, and they don't want to get rid of those t-shirts, but then the t-shirts don't fit anymore, or you know, there's the nacho cheese stain down on the corner. You can go ahead and cut those out and get the emblem on there. I know they make quilts with them, but here's another alternative, a nice little storage box. You know, you can make a storage box with their little mascot kind of centered on the t-shirt, and then put all their trophies in there that they don't ever want to get rid of in the box. And say, here you go. So our sweater is turned inside out, and I'm going to just follow the seam lines when I cut, so that I'm staying kind of within the pieces of fabric, and I'm not chopping fabric pieces up too much. I'm just going to go ahead and cut along that seam line as carefully as I can. And you know, depending on what you want to do with this will depend on also where you cut it. So for this next one, I cut the sleeves, and the knit is kind of stretchy on it. It's kind of see-through. So I actually covered the box with some paper before I pulled it over top of it from the bottom. And again, because this one is the one that has the tear in it, I'm going to have to be extra careful that I don't snag it any further and make it worse or make it come apart. See, that paper underneath then gives it a really cool kind of metallic look to it. And I will cut this excess on the bottom and just glue it there, and glue my corners like I did before, and I have a little piece that I'm going to stick in there. But I'm going to show you that I'm going to poke a hole right in the side with a pen, nothing fancy. I'm just going to support that cardboard pretty good and poke a hole in there, and I feel like I got a little hole in there. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, in roughly about the same spot. There you go. Once we get the holes poked in on both sides, I have some tulle here that I will make a little handle, and then it'll be kind of like a fun little basket. And I think I'm going to need a knife on this side to get all the way through, because my pen doesn't want to go through on that side. So I'm just going to glue the bottoms and the edges and thread my handle through. So I trimmed up the bottom and I glued the edges. I'm getting ready to put the sort of handle on, and I have some tulle here. So the tricky part is that you have to put it through the fabric first and then in the hole, because if you try and push them through at the same time, you'll end up pushing your fabric through the hole and kind of stretching it out and out of place. So I'm just going to try and find a nice little hole here. Stretch that bit and feed it through. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Once we get them through, we can just knot them and they will be secured. And so one other quick fix that you can do with your leftover sweater pieces is, of course, I have a sleeve here, and they make really nice bottle bags. And what's nice about this is if you have a bottle that's not standard, maybe you're getting ready to make somebody some homemade vanilla. You have a bigger square bottle. Most bags are made just for the regular size wine bottles. So if you take a needle and thread and you're going to do what's called a slip stitch, which is super easy. You don't have to have any skill to do this. You're just going to thread your needle and then put it through the end and knot it. You all know how to do that, right? Get back through the little loop. And then you're just going to push all of this fabric together. You're just going to bunch it up. I'm going to come over here so I can show you this. So I have my fabric just all bunched up, and I'm just going to run my needle right through all of that. Okay, in a nice little slip stitch. And what that's going to do is just cinch that bottom up, and then I'm just going to knot my thread again. I'm actually using a heavy duty cord type of thread. I'm going to knot that just one more time. Back through there. Okay, so now when I cut this and turn it back right side out, because I did turn it inside out, in case I forgot to say that. So when I turn that right side out, I think it was right side out, not inside out. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. Now I take my bottle and slip it right inside of there. You can see it closed up nice and tight. And we can just grab a little, this will be a little Christmas themed. And then you could do ribbon or whatever you like around there. I like the products. We'll tie a little tulle around there. Like I said, if you had ribbon, whatever you had, you could essentially put another slip stitch in the top if you wanted to. I kind of like to leave it open. Give it a cute little look. And pretty quickly and pretty easily you have a nice little bottle bag. And what's really cool about this is if you threw one of these together on your way to a party and you did have a bottle of something that was chilled, this also kind of works as a nice little, as a sweater for it. Keep it warm, or in this case, cold, insulated. So there you go. So don't throw your sweaters away because they have multiple uses. You can make a cute little basket out of it, to tote around. storage container for absolutely everything. You probably can put some flowers in this. Organize all your stuff. Super simple, super easy. There's 100 other uses. I'm going to do a whole other video at some point on how to recycle your sweaters. But this is just kind of a fun start. Make sure that you're checking in the vestibule. I'm going to try and scrounge up some nice stretchy material in case you don't have anything at home that you're ready to scrap. We'll have some of that for you. And just grab a box, or you can even cover plastic baskets from the Dollar Tree. Those are always a good thing to cover, and they're kind of sturdy, but yet it gives it a little pretty, little personalized if you want to match something in your house and really snazz up your decor. And of course, it's my favorite because it's cheap, or in case you were going to throw your sweater out, it kind of makes it free, which is always a good thing. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure that you like, comment, and share so that your friends can become our friends. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you real soon.